Sairam everyone. Happy Shivaratri to everyone.
Happy Shivaratri to you. Whole night you are awake.
Yes, Auntie.
Shiva. That's good.
I think because that's the way we have to live our life. I think last week we discussed how Krishna says we have to think of the Lord every moment, so that when we die, when the Shivam becomes Shavam, we will all reach the Lord. I think that's what we discussed quite a bit. I think everyone was interested in figuring out how we can think of the Lord. Whether if we don't remember, can somebody tell in our ears? So these were some discussion thoughts which we discussed. So I will ask the sisters to continue from where we left off. Sairam sisters.
Sairam. The seventh is Pranava, Om, which when we pronounced at the moment of death awards merger with the Akshara Paraman, imperishable absolute itself. When Krishna said this, Arjuna immediately prayed to him to elaborate the point a little more, so that he might grasp it clearly. Krishna was only too glad to do so. The moment of death does not mean some future point of time. It means this very moment. Any moment might turn out to be the moment of death. So every moment is the last. Every moment must be filled with pranava. The fate of man after death is molded by the thought that predominates at the moment of death. That thought is the foundation on which the next birth is built. Whoever at the time remembers me attains my glory, reaches me in fact, declares Krishna. So each karma of man, every striving of his, every sadhana, should be aimed at sanctifying that fateful moment. The years of life must be devoted to the discipline that will bring up at that moment the thought of Paramatma or Pranava. What has to be discarded is the Deha, this physical case. What has to be earned is Parabrahman, the universal absolute. The Deha has your reality, your Swarupam, and undiscardable, indestructible, undying Satyam, truth, and Nityam, eternal. That reality is the entity called Atma, or what is the same thing, Paramatma. Since you are that, you cannot cast it off. Casting off the body is akin to shifting from house occupied for some years, and birth is your entry into the new one. Both these are physical acts, not affecting the Atma. Arjuna, the Atma does not come in nor does not go out. Those who are toiling in the falsehood of Deha, Tattva, the physical, cannot have the Atma revealed to them. The Deha Tattva is liable to decay and death. Therefore, more than the sixth item mentioned by me already, the Pranava, which is such potent instrument of liberation, has to be understood clearly. All the long years of life are to be utilized for this constance.
Thank you.
For this consummation. So I'm having, my internet is going in and out, so it's kind of hard. The mind being fixed on pranava, when the body is being cast off, you blend the flavor of food you have taken. Your last thought indicates the food you have fed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. So, Krishna is telling that every moment can be lost. So I think just the way the last thought decides what our next birth is going to be. I think every moment decides the next moment also. What we do this moment, I'm sure, is determined the next moment. So I will stop here. I will ask others to share any thoughts you have, Saira.
I think Swami had used the word sadgati. In this context, what does it mean? It just means like a better birth, conducive to progressing in your spiritual path.
Good, Sister Kalyani. Good question. I will ask Auntie, others, Sai Satish, anyone would like to say what is Sadgati? Is it a better birth or is it liberation? I think that's Saira.
Gati is goal, isn't it? Gati is the way we travel.
Yes.
Gati is the speed with which we travel, isn't that?
Speed also.
Gati. But actually, Sadgati is the ultimate place where we are going to land up.
Yes.
Sadgati. It's either it may be moksha, or either it may be some other Swargaloka, or it might be somewhere else we may move into. But Sadgati is a good place where we are going to land up.
Thank you very much, Auntie.
Sairam,
Yes, Sairam, Sai Satish.
Anna, that line I missed. Anna. What is that whole line that Sister Kalyani is talking about? On
Sadgati line?
Yes, Anna.
Where is it actually, Sadgati line?
One second.
In Telugu, it is there.
I think it's the second to last sentence or third to last sentence of the last piece we read.
Auntie, Kana Sadgatiku Antyamuna Tinchu Pavitra Chintanaye Pradhana Lakshamu.
In the seventh pranava, it starts. It is there, is it?
Auntie, Atma Vachunadi Kadu. I think in that paragraph.
పోవునది కాదు, దేహ భ్రాంతితో ఉన్న వారికి ఆత్మతత్వం అర్థము కాదు, దేహతత్వము స్థిరము కాదు, కాన పై చెప్పిన ఆరింటి కంటే ఈ మరణ కాలమున ఎట్టి భావమును ఎట్టి స్థితిని కలిగి ఉండవలనని తెలుసుకుంటే అవసరం. ఇందులో ఎందుకు?
At the end of that.
At the end of that, Auntie.
Okay.
Further.
Yes. Okay, let me read it. ఎందుకన ఈ స్థితిని తెలుసుకొనుటే జీవిత కాలమున చేయు సర్వ సాధనములు, అట్టి సాధనల ఫలమే అంత్యమున అట్టి పవిత్ర చింతన వచ్చుటకు కారణము. కార్యకారణములు అవినాభావములు, పిండి కొద్ది రొట్టి కదా, సాధన కొలది సద్గతి. Here it comes. However sadhana you do, you get that సద్గతి. కాన సద్గతికి అంత్యమున చింతించు పవిత్ర చింతనయే ప్రధాన లక్ష్యము, దానికి చిన్నము. జీవితమున వేటిని ఆచరింతుమో వాటిని పురస్కరించుకునే అంత్యమును స్మరణ కలుగును అని అన్నాడు. సద్గతికి అంత్యమున చింతించు పవిత్ర చింతనయే ప్రధాన లక్ష్యము. వాట్ ఎవర్ థాట్ we think about just before death, it is the cause for our Sadgati.
Yes. So Kalyani's question is, what is Gati? Is it destination, or is it final destination, or is it better birth? I think that's a question. Sai Satish.
Yeah, yes, Anna. So in that context, it can be looked at both the short term and the long term, because I think like Anna, you were mentioning, this moment prepares us for the next moment. Likewise, this birth is preparing us for the next birth, and at the same time, the ultimate journey or sojourn where we become birthless kind of a state. So in that, because the way Swami is mentioning, like how is the dough, so is the chapati, and that kind of a relation that is happening. So it is like you can look at it both from the short term and the long term perspective, because whatever we do, if this happens, if it is something like our penultimate birth, then obviously the real sadgati of moksha is attained. And if it is not so, then of course we are born, but ultimately it leads to a situation where we can work towards that ultimate salvation. So I'm seeing this as one word that can be taken at several layers, like how we earlier also we saw when we were dealing with other aspects. So it can be looked at from both the ways, because I think it comes like mati, gati, sthiti, sampatti, all those kind of things are related to the current birth and how it guides to both the short and the long term.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Maybe I will just add, Kalyani, Sadgati is the ultimate destination is a real Sadgati.
Yeah.
But the word Gati, I think, means multiple things, origin is also Gati, actually. Where we came from is also Gati. Okay. So Gati, as Auntie said, the speed, the pace at which we move also is Gati. The movement itself is Gati. Any state in which we reach is also Gati. Then you can ask the word, so Sat Gati means, what does Sat means? Sat is the true. So we can say true origin, or the movement towards the truth, or the reach, a destination of truth. So depending on who is where, whatever our state is, we can decide for ourselves what it would mean to us. As Sai Sati said, it can mean, every sentence of Swami is actually multiple layer of meaning. Every statement, just like mantras, just like what's in the Vedas. So I think, depending on where we are, the next moment is Sadgati for us. If we are realized, maybe we will merge the next moment. But if we are not realized, then we'll go one step towards the Sadgati. I think that's my understanding also.
So that's really interesting that it means both the end goal and also the origin.
Yeah.
Both.
Because we have to go back to, Swami always says, find out where you came from and get back there.
We have to go back to our source, from which we have come.
It's because Gati means from where you left. Okay, that Ga can means multiple. It's movement towards where you are going, movement from where you came from also. From where you left also Gati. From where you're going also Gati. Okay, so that is some of these words are phenomenal. What they mean, and ultimately based on what our perception is, they will mean different things.
Brother, in Tamil, Satkadi means like
Auntie, sorry, sister, Tamil borrowed it from Sanskritam. Okay, that's all. But
Satkadi means surrender, like you are giving up everything, right? You Satkadi and சொல்றதெல்லாம்.
Different usage. Yes, please go ahead.
So, Sairam brother, we can say in Tamil it's a kadasi nilai or something, the end of the last stage.
Yeah. Last stage, Gati enna? What is Negati? We always say that.
Means if you are in difficulty, something in the kadi and like that, they will say. That means, what is my lot?
Lot, yeah. What's my lot? What will happen?
That's why Sai Sati said, mati, gati, sthiti, sampatti. That means what you get out of it also. So I think, ultimately Swami just wants us to know how we spend each moment, each day. I think we have to pay attention to, and that's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Okay, if everyone is okay, we can move on.
Your Sadgati progress is in accordance with your sadhana, spiritual practice. Progress is in accordance with practice. Be always aware of the need to fix the mind on holy thoughts. When the body is got rid of, that is to say, immerse yourself in holy thoughts every moment of your life. Then Arjuna inquired, O Lord, has one to strive for it from now on? Has one to strive for it from now on if one wishes to get holy thoughts at the last moment of life? Can we not get them at the time itself? The Lord realized his doubt and replied, Your intelligence seems to have been blunted a great deal, for you are hesitating to accept the need to develop holy thoughts from now on, Arjuna. The mind has to be educated into the habit through what is called Abhyasa Yoga, the discipline of constant practice. It has to be trained to avoid other thoughts and concentrate on the Lord only. Then only can you reach the Paramapurusha, the Oversoul, the Supreme Spirit. Unless you systematically teach it and train it, it will not remember the Paramapurusha at the moment of death. Paramapurusha at the moment of death.
Thank you, sister. So I think Swami anticipated the question and giving the answer, or it looks like.
Brother, there's a one word here, it's coming, remember. So last time we heard hearing. Also, we were just discussing like hearing the Lord's name, right? But here clearly says you have to remember. So some people go and say things, we were discussing that, right? So if the person is not practiced and he won't remember, then that is, they are not going to merge with the Lord. But last time some people said you have to go and tell in the ear. So remember and hearing, I don't think the same in this context. I don't know.
Thank you, sister. So Sister Aruna has made a mention about that, the memory cannot come from outside. I think that's what she says. So others telling may not help. So what's everyone else thinking?
That was my belief too. Karuna.
Yeah. Anyone else? Is our remembering, is it the same, or is it equal to what others prompting us to remember? Okay.
Saravan, I think I think it should come from within, from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my take on it. Sorry.
Yeah, last time we were discussing that somebody can say things last minute, go and say in the ears and all. I don't think in this context, Swami is saying not here. You have to remember, practice yourself to remember. So that hearing part, I think we shouldn't mistaken from here. Like you have to remember. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, sister. Yes, I think Brother Dasan also wanted to say. Sai Satish also wants to say.
Okay, Sairam brother. So when we are reading that Bhagavad Gita, whatever we discussed last time, so that time our mind will fixed on the God. Instead of the mind goes away, if someone's reading, that time that person cannot read. So if we say it in the ear or if we read, the person, maybe the last, people say the last sense goes the ear. That's the hearing part. So he can think about God. The person who thinking about God, the Bhagavan saying here, he will reach to me. So hearing also very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Yes, Sai Satish.
Yeah, Sai Ramana. So we have heard about Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. So automatically it means that it is not stopping at Shravanam, just hearing. It continues into Mananam and Nididhyasana, where we are contemplating on it, and then we are putting that into practice. Because Swami also gives the example of a tape recorder. Says if the tape recorder is going on playing that kind of a thing, and we are also doing in similar fashion, then there is no difference. So it's like more like we are just listening to it, then it's as good as the tape recorder will get liberation. So that is where we'll have to not just listen to it, but contemplate, put it into daily practice, make it an integrated part of ourselves. So when the last moment comes, it becomes second nature, but to think of the Lord, and it is the journey continues in contemplating on the Lord, even as the body is dropped. So that is how the understanding flows.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Any other thoughts? So I think Swami has spoken about this quite a bit. The reality is when we are dying, our mind also is sometimes is not in our control. Our senses are not in control. So there are many devotees who have composed prayers. Oh Lord, when I am about to die, I may not be able to remember you. I am remembering you all this time. I may not be able to remember you. You need to help me, even in case I don't remember you. There are enough prayers I can quote from where the devotees pray like this. They are regularly they are thinking of the Lord only, but they are also worried that when they die, they may not be able to remember, because it's not in our hands. The reason why we may not be able to remember is as long as our senses are active in this world, there will be some input from the senses around us. So even we think of the Lord all the time, suddenly some input from external world can distract us. This is happening even if we sit for meditation, we can't focus. And not most people, at least I would say. So, so the thing is, now how much I wish to remember, however I practice, it may be defective. So what the Lord Swami himself has said is, cultivate good company, satsangam. That's why he says when you can sing in your altar and think that you have devotion, but that may not be good enough. So you need to be in a company. That's why he said community bhajan. He said when that is there, when you sleep also, others around may help you. So I think even for somebody to say the name of the Lord in our ears, we must have cultivated enough good company. That company is around. If you're going to have people who are going to talk about other things when you're dying, that is, we have not cultivated good company. So that is why individually we cannot even attain, as a physical person, how much our individual effort is required, no doubt, as Brother Dasan said, unless we have done the, homework, we have done the practice, even when others say, we may not remember. So I think individual effort is required, but also having good company of people who will remember the Lord when you are dying is also equally important. We have to cultivate that also. That's what I understand. So I will stop here. Saira.
அப்போதைக்கு ஹலோ சாய்ராம்,
Saira. Okay. Saira.
அப்போதைக்கு இப்போதே சொல்லி வச்சேன். That is what, you know, in Tamil we always come across that.
Yes.
Sairam, in that case, what Maha said was right also.
Yes.
Because if you have a good company next to you, they can do the input.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Brother, the company can help you, but you have to have the remembrance of Lord.
Yes.
That is one thing, because you do all bad things, the company come and say that doesn't going to work. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's
Hearing
true.
that doesn't work.
But there are stories of some sages who did all wrong things, but at that last minute, when he was calling out Krishna, Krishna came and he went to Vaikuntha.
Auntie, that is exceptional, and is God grace something we have done good. But usually, I think, as per Swami, yeah, you can think whatever other person is saying, but you cannot connect or remember. I don't know, last minute you have any other disease or sickness, whether you cannot conceive. Yeah, that I don't know, but I'm just saying. That's how I look at it. Thank you.
Sairam, maybe in the previous slide at the end, I have noticed that the last thought is the foundation of your next birth. And also Swami says here that every single moment, it would be your last moment, and every single day, it would be your last day. And remember that. But if that is the case, why God has made this type of rule? Only the very last moment at the time of your death, it would be the seed or foundation for your next birth. Every single day, whatever we do, it should be accumulated, and maybe the average or some sort of that because of those reasons, even in Canada, look at the exams. Every single they would be having quizzes and the semester system, and the not for the annual system. This is kind of even if we studied years and years back home, the 2 years, 4 years, at the end we will write an exam, and if we fail, that is that would be considered whether you are in the success or in the failure. But here, because of that, the downside, they have made the semester system and everything. I'm just thinking about this one, that only the thought in your last moment, if that is the foundation for the next birth. What about the everyday thinking? Say for an example, a young mother, maybe at the age of 29, with a tiny little baby, in the month baby. When she die at the time, certainly that mother will think about that baby, not necessarily Om Namah Shivaya. If the senses and everything, it's in her mind. That's why I thought that even though God made out of this rule and everything, maybe God has some sort of the unfair deal on this one. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, sister, it's a very nice question. Sometimes I try to cook at home, now and then, and sometimes you want to do some special dish. So what happens? It's a lot of work. You start preparing. Do everything, and it's a few hours of work, and the food is cooking. Last stages, it is on the stove, and then what happens? Some phone call comes, and you have been very diligent. You have been paying full attention, making sure that it should be the best. And the phone call came, and you answered, or at least I answered. And about 5-10 minutes goes in that phone call, because you get so engrossed in the phone call that you forgot that you are cooking. And then you turn and see the entire thing is burnt. This is very, very unfair. God should have known that, I was paying attention. He should have stopped the stove and everything, so that my distraction doesn't make me lose all that our effort we put. Okay, but that is so many things in life are unfair like this. But the thing is, God will say, look here, why did you get distracted? So the thing is, even the last moment of our lives, we can be distracted. And the Lord will say, hey, you want me to create fire, it will burn and cook. You know how it cooks. Now, if you neglect, it is not my job. So I think the point Krishna is telling is, ever be vigilant. Jagrata. Okay, always be vigilant. And know that things can get spoiled even if you put on a lot of effort. A little bit of distraction, or can ruin all our good effort. I think that's the point which he wants to drive home. So I think that's the way I see it. But I will stop here, sister. I will ask others to share.
Thank you, brother. It's the excellent explanation. Be vigilant. Maybe if I am going to have a conversation, maybe I should switch maybe the off the stop and the start in the conversation. I always do that. The make sure.
Sai Ram Aruno,
Right
as you
on.
said, if we depend on the third person to say Om in our ears or Namah Shivaya or any name of the God, it is not possible at all times of death. Anytime anything can happen. That person, if they are not near you, then you are done. So we can't even book. We can't book anybody. Sorry.
Just adding to that discussion thing, I think in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. So the expectations of remembering the Lord's name are too high, in the sense that in the midst of the battle, when people are dropping down dead on either side, and the person is expected to shoot the arrows at the enemy with the same concentration, same dedication, same surrender, that Lord, you are everything and it's not me. That is the expectation that Lord Krishna has set, or the Lord has set for us in terms of the thing. Because we see that even for normal examination itself, like whatever, whether it's in the medical field or any engineering field, we know that whole year people study. Of course, the evaluation system may be different in different places, but it is the exam, the final exam kind of a thing, which decides the fate of that whole year. So if it is for a normal exam, that the fate of that particular degree is dependent on the final exam, then I think, again, applying the same bars to the exam of life, it will come down to Mam Manusmara Yuddhacha, that kind of a bar, which I think that is for the highest degree of moksha that is to be conferred by the Lord. That expectation becomes like, yeah, it has to be fulfilled, kind of a thing.
Yeah, Sister Anita, you have your hand up.
Sai Ram, brother. Is this why when a person is dying, whoever is near, we have the Ganga Jal, and then also we also chant Bhagwan's name, right? When the person is passing. So maybe that person, because when they are dying, even after they've declared dead, they can still hear for a little while. Because I remember when my father was passing and he was at the hospital, they had given us the time and he was still listening to me. And then I didn't know what to do. So I called the temple and the priest, they were receptive. And I just connected them via phone to my dad's ears, hoping that he could hear. And I don't know, somehow I still feel that he heard because he could hear me. And I even gave him with the spoon and I asked him, is it okay? And he said, yes. And his body was still warm and he had passed. So I wonder if before people are passing, they say those chants and they say Bhagwan's name for that, maybe to remind the person to say it to the Lord or something like that. I don't know what's the significance. I was just wondering.
Thank you, sisters. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
So I hope others can comment on that. Yes, Brother Thasan.
Sai Ram, brother. So, in the last moment, the mind is the problem. Why we cannot say even one word, the Om or any God's name? Krishna, Lord Krishna said, once you say the simple word, you're going to merge with me. But your mind doesn't allow that one. If you give your attention, your family attention, he will think about the family. You are not giving the opportunity to think about Lord. That's what, if someone read the book or someone say the name, he will think about the Lord. So we are not supposed to go back to the worldly thing. That's what is, the mind is the problem. So we have to cultivate, or we have to train the mind, think about the one point, the concentration. You should not away from worldly thing, away from the God. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I'm not just going on with this, but I just need a clarification. Just reading this and now listening to everybody's their thoughts, I'm thinking like this. Like, say for instance, at the last minute, your senses are not working. That's why Swami says you have to remember every minute. So once your senses at the last minute didn't work to perceive what the other people are saying or hearing or anything, the remembrance only the last minute. So as Swami said, you have to remember every day you have to think is the last minute. Like as you mentioned before, every second is the last minute. Like that, if you have the connection only, it would work. Otherwise, you don't know last minute your senses are working to hear it even. Thank you. Just
Thank you, sister.
thinking about that. Thank you, Saya.
I think from these passages, actually, I think we learned three things. One is each individual has to practice Abhyasa Yoga so that we remember, number one. Number two, we should also cultivate the company which will not distract us from that thought. Number two. I think number three, I think we also learn that when somebody dies, near or dear, what we should do also. The reality is when somebody dies, how long does it take that Atman, Jivatma to leave or drop the physical body, drop the mental body is a subject of Sanatana Dharma. That's why even though the physical body is dropped, the mental body takes a little longer to drop. So it's, they say a few days and so on. So it is for that reason that devotional hymns are sung, prayers are recited, and they'll say, don't be sad about the person going, just wish them well. Let them go proceed with the thought of God. That's why we have to sing the name of the Lord, or conduct prayers. Ourselves, we should be thinking of the Lord, so that they, if at all, it's taking them a few days to drop the mental sheath, they still will be able to listen and hear with their subtle senses, and they will be impacted by that. So this is the belief in Sanatana Dharma. So that's why we have for a few days of prayers, spending time in thinking of the Lord, singing the name of the Lord, reading about the Lord. All that happens so that the person, even though they have dropped the physical body, there will be a few days of dropping the mental body. That means they will be still attached. There are people who die who say, I was hovering around above the body and I heard people doing this, that. There are people who have near-death experience coming and explaining. So that is the reality. So I hope we mark these three things for ourselves. Sire.
Very nice, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Arno. It's a good summarizing.
Sire. I just summarized what everyone shared. I am also taking notes. Mental. Thank you.
Writing university notes here.
See, Swami is the teacher and we are all doing, we are doing our group study. Yes, taught. Now we are trying to, hopefully we'll pass the exam. We'll strive. Yes, Kalyani, you wanted to say.
I was just going to ask for the Telugu as well.
Okay. Kalyani, you are going to remember only Telugu words when you are dying.
He's going to become a professor of Telugu.
Oh no.
Okay. Okay. అర్జునుడు అంత్యమున సచ్చింతన రావాలనన్నా నేటి నుండియే ప్రయత్నించవలనా. Arun, can you translate it?
1 second.
అంత్యమున సచ్చింతన రావాలనన్నా నేటి నుండియే ప్రయత్నించవలనా.
So it's
Okay.
So because after hearing to this, Arjuna is telling Swami, if at the end of my life, Antimna, good thoughts have to come, if they have to come, should the effort be done from today onwards?
ఆనాడు స్మరించకూడదా
Can't we just on that day remember?
అని సంశయపడ్డాడు.
And he just had a doubt like that.
అది పరమాత్ముడు గ్రహించి, అర్జున ఈనాటి నుండి అట్టి సచ్చింతన ఏలనని సంశయించుటతో నీ బుద్ధి చాలా మందగించినది అని తోచుచున్నది.
See, Arjuna, so Paramatma, that's Krishna Paramatma, understanding what Arjuna was saying, he says, from today onwards, doing, thinking good thoughts is not possible. Elani means why? Is Auntie Elani means why?
ఎందుకు
Why? Okay, why? And you are having that doubt. Such doubt shows that your buddhi has become blunt.
బావ మనస్సును అభ్యాస యోగ యుక్తం చేసి ఇతర చింతలను వదిలించిన అట్టివాడు పరమ దివ్య పురుషుని పొందగలుగుతాడు.
I'm saying, oh brother-in-law, if you take the mind and put it, apply the abhyasa yoga, the yoga of practice, and avoid all other thoughts, if you give up all other thoughts, such a person will attain the Parama Divya Purusha, that is the supreme divine person.
మనస్సును అభ్యాస యోగయుక్తం చేయనిది ఆనాడు నీవు పరమ పురుషుని స్మరించు చింతన రాలేదు ఎట్లని కూడా తిరిగే ప్రశ్నించవేమో. Are you going to ask me again? The question.
The Swami is saying, if without, so if you do not practice the abhyasa or if you do not have the practice, yoga of practice, that day you will not be able to remember the Parama Purusha or Supreme Person. It will not come. It cannot come. It will not come. You're going to most probably ask again, why?
Why?
How?
నీ విషయమే యోచించకో. నీవు ఏనాటి నుండియో అస్త్ర శస్త్ర విద్యలను అభ్యసించి యుండుట చేత ఈనాడు ఈ యుద్ధమున వాటిని పట్టి నేర్చిన విద్యలతో పోరాడగలవు.
See, Swami is telling, Krishna is telling, and I don't know whether we read the English for that.
No, not yet. This last one we are not.
Yeah.
If you have not practiced it.
Yeah, so I think English is not read for that. Yes, Auntie.
Oh, I see. I just went ahead. Anyway, I think you can translate that.
I will just translate what Auntie read.
Yeah.
Swami says, think about yourself, if you did not practice your weaponry by learning it and practicing it, if you have not done that, will you be able to
fight this war?
Can you fight using those skills unless they have been learned and practiced and perfected? That's what.
అట్లు కాక నీవు మొదటి నుండి ఈ అస్త్రశస్త్ర విద్యలు నేర్పక ఈనాడు నీవు వాటిని పట్టి పోరాడగలవా?
Can you do that if you did not do that? If you, without learning the archery, without practicing it, do you think you can fight today?
అది సాధ్యమగునా?
Is it possible?
కాదు. క్షత్రియులకు ఏనాటికైనను యుద్ధము చేయు సందర్భములు కలుగక మానవు.
So it's not possible for kshatriyas. Auntie, that's what you said, na? Kaadu kshatriyaluku?
కాదు, క్షత్రియులకు ఏనాటికైనానో యుద్ధం చేయ సందర్భములు కలుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. కలుగడం మానవు అంటే it will not be possible for them to have that opportunity.
You will not have the situation of not fighting.
Yeah.
Means a Kshatriya is bound to face a war. So because of that, he has to practice. Learn and practice.
వాటిని పట్టియే క్షత్రియులకు ఏ విద్యలు లేకపోయినను రాకపోయినను యుద్ధ సంబంధమైన విద్యలు నేర్చుకొనవలెను.
So even Kshatriyas, if they do not learn anything else, they have to learn about warfare and weaponry.
That's it. End of it.
Okay, we have read the next paragraph also.
Sorry, I thought. Okay. Next paragraph, I think.
Should we read that one in English? Or?
Yeah, of course. You have to read. Last paragraph.
Narmata, can you read?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to. Okay. You might ask me the reason. Well, think of your own case. You are able to use these weapons of offense and defense in the battle that is imminent. Imminent because you taught yourself the art of handling them over many years, is it not? Could you have used them with confidence, without preparation on the spur of the moment? Is it ever possible? The Kshatriya warrior will be called upon to wield weapons someday. So he is taught of the art from childhood so that he may be ready for the emergency. Similarly, whatever else a man may not meet with during life, he is certain to meet with death. So each one must be trained to have at that time the attitude and thought that are most beneficial to him. Otherwise, life is a failure, a waste. A person unready for this consummation has to suffer the fate that will befall him. No one enters a battlefield in order to suffer defeat. So too, no one voluntarily accepts a fall. He seeks only progress. Will it not be wise, therefore, to strive for the end that is in your own best interest? Hence, every man must take earnest steps to secure the thought of the seventh item, Pranava, at the last moment of life. Whoever dies is that thought attains me, said Krishna.
Thank you, sister.
When Swami says Abhyasa Yoga, is that just being practice sadhana?
Sadhana, yoga of practice.
Yoga.
Practicing sadhana, I guess, like practicing or
So, it's in I think chapter 12, the Bhakti Yoga is telling, for you to think of me all the time, you have to practice abhyasa. That also he says.
just practice thinking of the Lord every day.
Yes. Of course, if you can't think, then he gives other solutions, but that's it. So, yes.
I don't know. I have a question. The second paragraph, so each one must be trained to have at the time the attitude and thought that are most beneficial to him. Otherwise, life is a failure, a waste. Could you expand and give me explanation? And also another one thing I understood, I may be wrong. Krishna says more than the intelligence, you have to train your mind. Mind is your tool, and you have to help your mind to keep this trained, and that abhyasa will help you. Right?
Yes, Auntie.
Not to depend on the intelligence.
Maybe we'll read that paragraph in Telugu also and then discuss.
This is where we have finished. Your intelligence seems to have been blunted a great deal.
Yes.
So your mind is the most important thing, he says.
Mani Auntie, shall we read the Telugu and?
Yeah. అర్జున, ఈనాటి నుండి అట్టి సచ్చింతన ఏలనని సంశయించుటతో నీ బుద్ధి చాలా మందగించినది.
So
here Swami is saying buddhi.
Yes.
Here it's not given,
Is it the previous paragraph? It's already gone past, Auntie.
Sakkuji was asking about that question, buddhi. Intelligence doesn't.
I see. Okay.
That word doesn't appear here.
Yes, Swami has used buddhi,
Buddhi, that's all he has used.
Yeah, because sometimes the word buddhi gets translated as intelligence, unfortunately. That is the problem, Auntie, in the English.
In English, it is not here, no? He's
No,
not saying.
it's in the previous slide.
Oh.
I think if Kalyani goes back.
Yeah, correct. Your intelligence seems to have been blunted. Correct.
Yes, that's the reason.
They have used this too. Swami is saying your buddhi, that's all. Your buddhi has been blunted because you are asking questions and they are doubting about what I am trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Can we not do that practice at that time itself? He is asking that question.
Yes. See, your intelligence seems to have been blunted a great deal. I think that's a challenge. It is buddhi. The discrimination is blunted. So.
The discrimination is blunted. Here, that's what Swami is saying.
I think Sakwanti is asking about life is a failure, I think.
If you have to train the mind, you use your intelligence also. How can you train the mind without applying your intellect. Intellect has to tell the mind that this is the correct way of remembering the Lord at the time of death. So the intellect has to tell the mind.
So I think in that case, Arjuna is asking, why should we practice? For that, he says, if you're asking a question, so your buddhi seems to be blunt. But here is, I think Auntie is asking, your life is a failure or waste.
Each one trying to have at that time the attitude and thought that are most beneficial to him. Otherwise, it's a failure, a waste.
I think, Kalyani, you have something to say?
No, Uncle, I think you were going to read the Telugu for that.
Yeah, okay. Auntie, we will read the Telugu paragraph, Auntie. అటులనే మానవునికి ఏది వచ్చినా రాకపోయినా
ఇది కరెక్ట్ ఇది సాధనలో
క్షత్రులకు ఏ విద్యలు లేకపోయినను రాకపోయినను
అదా కరెక్ట్ లాస్ట్ ల
ఆఫ్టర్ దట్
అట్టివాడు
అట్లని
అభ్యాస యోగం చేయనిది ఆనాడు నీవు పరమ పురుషుని స్మరించుచుందన్నా రాలేదు ఎట్లని కూడా తిరిగి ప్రశ్నించవేమో నీవు యోచించుకో థింక్ అబౌట్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ నీవు ఏనాటి నుండి అస్త్రశస్త్ర విద్యలను అభ్యసించి ఉండుట చేత ఈనాడు యుద్ధమున వాటిని పట్టి నేర్చిన విద్యలతో పోరాడగలవు. దట్స్ ఇట్. ఇస్ ఇట్ దట్ అట్లు కాక ఫ్రమ్ దేర్ ఇస్ ఇట్.
Yeah, no, even that atlu kaka we read, auntie we went up to వాటిని పట్టి క్షత్రువులకు ఏ విద్యలు లేకపోయినను రాకపోయినను.
That's the last sentence here in this paragraph, in this.
Yes, after that we have to read, auntie.
No, the new chapter starts in Telugu.
I know, but అటులనే మానవునికి ఏది వచ్చినా. Don't you have that?
వాటిని వాళ్ళదా అట్లుగాక నీవు మొదటి నుండి ఈ అస్త్రశస్త్ర విద్యలు నేర్పక ఈనాడు నీవు వాటిని పట్టి పోరాడగలవా? అది సాధ్యమగునా? కాదు. క్షత్రియులకు ఏనాటికైనను యుద్ధము చేయు సందర్భములు కలుగక మానవు. వాటిని పట్టి క్షత్రియులకు ఏ విద్యలు లేకపోయినను రాకపోయినను యుద్ధ సంబంధమైన విద్యలు నేర్చుకోవాలను. That's it. They have learned that art of warfare.
Yeah, but then in the English, auntie, it still continues.
In the Telugu it finishes.
Yeah, but next chapter it starts, no?
సామాన్య మానవులకు మరణం
సమయం. You don't have that.
No, it is not here. 16 chapter 16 starts from there afterwards.
Okay, so then I think I may have to read. Which page is it, auntie?
Telungule 119.
Sorry. నేర్చుకోవాలను after that. Oh, I see. I think so. I think the book it is not there, auntie. I have a digital version. It has, so I will just read that.
Okay.
Then I might read the Telugu and so it was like this. Atulane maanavuనికి ఏది. I will try to read, auntie. You can translate.
Okay.
అటులనే మానవునికి ఏది వచ్చినా రాకపోయినా మరణము రాక తప్పదు.
Oh. Whether he learns anything or doesn't learn, but maranam, death is sure to come. Death is sure to come.
కనుక ఆ సమయమున ఏ విధమైన చింతనతో దానిని పవిత్రం చేసుకొన వలనన్నది ప్రతి వ్యక్తికి ముందుగానే నేర్చియుండవలను.
Oh, they say in 16th chapter, that's the first paragraph here.
Okay.
సామాన్య మానవులకు మరణ సమయమున మాధవ చింత రావాలనన్నా అంత సులభము కాదు. It's not easy to get the Krishna's thought at the time of death.
Yes.
For ordinary human being. దానికి పూర్వము సంస్కారం ఉండవలను. There should be a kind of samskar.
Preparation.
Preparation. మనస్సును అభ్యాసయుక్తము చేయవలెను.
You have to practice.
Yoga of practice must be there. అంత మాత్రమున కూడాను పవిత్ర స్మరణ ప్రాప్తించదు. Even then you won't get that kind of remembrance at the last moment. అన్య చింతనను మనస్సున చేరనివ్వక వాటిపై అసఖ్య భావన పెంచవలెను. You other thoughts which come, you have to avoid them.
Yeah, auntie, but the thing is,
ಅಗಿಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂಗೆ.
adella illa. You know, this is, so I will read because it's still, I think it's repeated similar thought, but it is here something different is there, so I will just read.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there are multiple versions. I don't know why. Okay, I will just read. Kanuka ఆ సమయమున ఏ విధమైన చింతనతో దానిని పవిత్రం చేసుకొన వలెనున్నది ప్రతి వ్యక్తికి ముందుగానే నేర్చి ఉండవలను.
You have to learn it beforehand.
Yeah. So Swami is telling that death is certain. So because of that, at that time, in whichever way thought, whatever thought comes, to make it pure, every prati vakti, every person should learn it beforehand itself. Mundugane నేర్చుట వలను. Okay. అట్లు నేర్వని వారు
நேரலேன் வாரு
நேர்வனி அப்படின்னு போட்டிருக்க. நேர்வனி வாரு నేర్వని వారు పరాజయమునకు పట్టం కట్టవలసి వచ్చును. పట్టము కట్టవలసి వచ్చును.
They are sure to be a failure.
Okay.
Those people who don't learn that way,
నేర్వని వారు, people who don't learn will fail that. Okay. లేక ప్రాప్తించిన దానినే అనుభవించవలసి వచ్చును.
Whatever you obtain, whatever you get, just enjoy it. That's it.
You have to experience that. Yeah.
Experience it.
యుద్ధము జయించవలనని చెంతురు కానీ ఓడిపోవలనని ఎవ్వరు చేయరు.
Everybody wants to win the war, not that they want to run away from the war field.
ఓడిపోవలేనని ఎవ్వరు చేయరు.
ఓడిపోయేదంటే failure.
Lose the battle, defeat.
Losing the battle.
No one wants to fail in the war. అటులనే మానవుడు ఉత్తమ గతికి పోవలనని ఆశించును కానీ అధమ స్థితిలో ఉండవలనని కోరడు. So same way, every person would like to strive to reach the highest position, and they do not want to be in the bottom or the lowest level. దేనిని కోరునునో దానికి తగినట్టుల ముందు ప్రయత్నము జరుపవలను కదా.
Whatever you wish for, don't you have to strive for it? Don't you have to put forth effort to gain that state?
కాన ఏడవదైన ప్రయాణ కాలమున పవిత్ర చింతన వచ్చునట్టి ప్రయత్నములు ప్రతి మానవుడు చేయవలను.
Every human being has to put forth his effort to remember that last, before his death, how to remember the Lord.
The seventh item. అట్లు ఎవడు చేయుదురో వారు నన్ను పొందుదురు అని పరమాత్ముడు అర్జునునికి బోధించినారు.
The whole paragraph is missing in Telugu, this book.
I know, auntie.
Okay.
So Swami is saying, Krishna is telling, so I'm just again read, auntie.
Whoever thinks about me, na?
Yeah. అట్లు ఎవడు చేదురో చేయుదురో వారు నన్ను పొందురు అని పరమాత్ముడు అర్జునుడికి బోధించినారు. సో కృష్ణ is telling whoever does this will attain me. గీత సారమై మంతయు ఇందులోనే కలదు.
So that is the essence.
The
Most
entire
important.
Gita essence is just this. Yes.
Yeah.
మానవుడు ఏ విధమైన సత్కర్మలు చేసినను ఉత్తమ గతిని పొందవలననే ఉద్దేశమే కాదా?
We didn't read this paragraph yet in the
Okay,
English.
sorry. Yeah. So
Okay,
I think
okay.
that's missing in Auntie's version. So I'll have to.
Yeah. Kalyani, not there in this book.
Oh.
Yeah. You see, the printed. I have a printed version also. I checked. That's missing.
That's missing.
Yeah. I think they have to get their act together, but it's okay.
Okay.
Pattamu kattavalasi. What is that? You said that means fail?
Pattamu kattadinte you will get
Pattam is degree. Pattam is degree.
You will get that degree of failure.
Oh, you'll get the degree of failure.
You'll get a degree, but fail grade.
I don't know. Attitude and thought. That is the work of the mind, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So here Krishna is giving more importance to the mind.
See, I think what Swami is telling is, for example, if you go and join a college for a degree, and then forget halfway that we have joined the university for a particular degree and get involved in all sorts of activities, when the final exam comes, we will fail. So what Krishna is telling Arjuna is, all of us have come to this world for this final degree, obtaining the final degree.
Yeah, very important.
But we have forgotten it completely. We are all about, who is around us, who is my family, my children, this, that. We are all caught up in that so much that we are not getting prepared. We are forgetting the preparation for the final exam. This is what Sai Satish originally told about failing the exam. Okay. So I think that's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Arjuna, yes, you are born, you're fighting, all that, but keep the final Sadgati also in mind, because that is the most important. If you neglect, the whole purpose of being born is lost. But this is what happens. We go to a university or somewhere, then we get engrossed in people, attached to people. Others, they will say, let's go and have some fun. So then we may leave the class, or to attend classes, go, or be engaged in activities which are not productive. Because that's what happens to all of us. We are all born, and then then we will. So we have to, we want to enjoy the world. Maybe travel here, go there, something, or be engaged in some activities which is not necessary taking care of our final goal. Of course, people will say, no, you have to lead a very balanced life. You should be, you should not be just focused on one thing. Krishna is telling, but yes, you don't need to be totally focused, but you should not forget what you have to attain. And so I was listening to a discourse about 2 days ago. Swami is telling, all of you are coming and asking about your children. Whatever you do, what will happen to your children? You think you have changed the way the children turn out to be? It's not in your hand at all. Then why are you so worried? It's all in my hand. Like that talking, discourse. So things like that. We don't have control over anything in this world, but we think we have control, and we spend all of our time, and it is always a losing game. We lose that game as well as the final game. Pattam kattavalasi. So very
Yeah,
interesting.
actually, in that context, if we take the story of Parikshit, the minute he learned that he has only 7 days time, He just dropped the kingdom and went off to the banks of the river to get the whole of the Bhagavatam from sage Sukha. So it means that is the ultimate exam, which even a king, the moment he realized that that is the exam he has to take, he just dropped everything and just walked out. It means that itself can tell us like what is the true exam and the real thing that we should ultimately pass in, because that is what matters. It doesn't matter like whether a king or a pauper, whatever you are, that is the exam that has to be taken. And second thing is, like, we have, for so many of these exams, we have like a mock exam before, like we can take the mock exam and then be ready for that. But unfortunately for this ultimate exam, there is no mock exam.
No mock exam.
You cannot, yeah, because I think it's a fine subtle distance between mock exam and a mockery. So in the sense, like, literally there is no final, there is no mock exam that can be taken for that. So every, like, living with that feeling of complete renunciation, that detachment, that surrender, and having that ultimate thing, because it's so very profound when this paragraph, like, you were reading out, and it sums up in essence what the whole purpose is. It's not what we are doing, but what we are becoming from what we are doing, that ultimately helps us in passing that final exam. And so there's a complete shift in that priorities, because I was just thinking the way Parikshit did it, that's what should apply to us, because for him, he knew at least he had 7 days time. In our case, we don't know next 7 seconds what are to happen. So all the more it becomes important. I know.
Yes, Brother Thasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother. According to this paragraph, my small input, brother, we are going towards death. Everyone knows that one. So, we have like animal quality. We have fear, we are hungry, we have sleep, and we have sexuality. That's a common for all animal and us. So what's the difference? We have the knowledge, the bhakti. So bhakti, so we learn here how to merge with the God, but we learn. But if we don't put it in practice, we are not going to experience it. That's what Arjuna, he got the weapons from the God, and they have to give the training. That's what he got the training in that earth, and he went to the heaven too. They gave the training. You cannot give the training just like that when he has to practice a lot. So like a surgeon, last time, whatever we explained, that theory doesn't not going to help you. Theory is somewhat you can understand, but you have to put it in practice, then you'll get the real taste of that one. So once you practice, definitely you're going to merge with the God in the last minute. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
I don't know, you still have to explain to me about the intelligence and the mind here, and the attitude. Thoughts, I know, mind creates all the thoughts. Attitude, from where does it come?
So anyone would like to volunteer?
Yes. Sairam, the attitude, in my understanding, is you are slave to the 5 senses. You are not going towards the permanent solution. So you are slave, and the last minute, the 5 senses is going to give up you. Then that time you cannot practice more towards the goal. Thank you.
Attitude comes from.
Uncle, in Telugu, it just says thought, right? Chintana?
Chintana, that's what it says. So, Auntie, in Telugu, the attitude and thought is just chintana. What do you think? But your chintana only is telling. Okay, that means your thoughts.
Chintana is thought.
That's all. In English, they have translated as attitude and thought, but
your mental
activities
or mental
expectation or no?
Here, attitude is only that.
So, I just wanted to come.
In West, I think, I mean, even in India, people have got a different meaning for attitude. The one who is arrogant, the one who shows off, is they use the word attitude there. It's not here. The attitude, that word, that meaning, it doesn't apply here. Attitude is that your mental makeup,
Yeah.
what you think of it.
Your
What you think.
perspective.
Oh, perspective. Thank
That-
you.
Perspective is the one word. It's not attitude.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on Sai Sathya is telling that we don't have mock exam because Auntie Sakku is going to tell it's very unfair. So, but I think, but God is very good in giving us mock exams because the death is actually the final sleep, permanent sleep. But before that, every day, I don't know if we live, for say 50 years or 100, if it's just this 100 years, we get about 365 times 100 opportunities to practice mock exam. But the problem is we fail the mock exams every day. Because every day when we go to sleep, we are very sure that we are going to be awake tomorrow. Number one, our attitude is that. And we will be thinking, tomorrow this is what I have to do. Maybe next week I should do something. Next month I should be doing something. All of us think about all this. So then what happens, the next day will happen. So the same way in death also, if we think some unleft business, all that we have to again and again be born. That many number of days we need to solve some problem, that many number of lifetimes is needed to solve some problems. So the thing is, every night actually we have full excellent opportunity to practice for the final death. When we die every night,
Yeah.
we should not think about tomorrow. We should not have any thought that I should wake up tomorrow and do all this. We should actually hand it over to the Lord and say, Lord, today I did whatever I did. Now I am not going to think about anything, anyone, no, nothing. I'm just leaving it all to you. Let me rest in you. If actually we can practice, it is something we have to practice. Because if we don't have, because the reality is we are going to be asleep for 8 hours. Who is looking after everyone? Including ourselves, our body also, we don't know what's being looked after. Whether we are breathing also, we will not know whether we are breathing. Do we have control over the blood is flowing when we are sleeping? We don't have. And all those things, people we think we are carrying on our head as looking without us, they will not live. Who is being looked after by them when we are asleep? So the thing is, but our ignorance is so much that we carry that and go to sleep. So actually, mock exam, not one mock exam. We get mock exams every day, every night. And sometimes if you during the day also, if we take a nap, that is also a mock exam. Intermediate time we sleep off, So, sometimes during Shivaratri I was dozing away and I think some people were making jokes. Oh, you were taking a small nap during...
Arun, every day you do Shivaratri at home. Doesn't matter. I know you do Shivaratri every day.
So I think there is opportunity for us to practice every day. We can prepare ourselves. We can train ourselves. Are we going to sleep only with the thought of the Lord? If we can think of pranava and go to sleep without any other thought, giving up everything. Swami says, give up every other thought. Then actually we are practicing. We may not pass on the first attempt, but at least it will train us. That's, I thought I would just share.
Is there any more digital version? Digital version you have read completely?
There's more, Auntie. I will send it to you, Auntie.
Okay, I don't.
321. I am going to send it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
I will
Sa-
send you the entire digital version of the book also, so that you have it. You know, I had multiple versions, and because I knew these things happen, so I have all versions possible accumulated. And I went to even the trust and told, you know, these are, you know, errors and omissions in many of your publications. We should work on it. But they seem to be, I didn't get much. When I
Saira,
saw you Telugu expert, I said no. Then that was the end of that. So
Anandi has got something to say.
Sairam, according to the discussion, wonderful discussion we have made, I understand that the life is the longest course we all go through, and maybe it could be 100-year course for someone. For someone it could be 20-year course, someone maybe 50, 75, and 100, and all these years we study, and maybe finally we may get a degree. It's like a life degree, and how do I know that whether I achieved the degree or not, and who will be granting me that degree? And that's my question. How I would know that I earned the degree at the end of the life. And previously I had the question, Brother Sai Sadish beautifully explained that they maybe the Parikshit, he knew the time frame, 7 days. That's why we know it's a crash course. Every single moment we should study and focus everything on that 7 day, and prepare for the exam, and we should pass it. But we don't know 7 months or 70 years, or they 100 years. So maybe that also may be the reason we are unable to focus, to prepare for ourselves to get the degree. That is my thought on this one. And I wanted to know, how would I know that I earned the degree, and who will be granting that degree to me? Thank you, Saira.
okay, good question, sister. Auntie, you want to say something?
No, you go ahead, please.
Otherwise, Sai Satish. I think Sai Satish, your name has been dragged into this.
Yeah, his name is
And I was no, I was only going to say from the point of what Swami says, Tyaja Durjana Samsargam, that is, give up bad company. Bhaja Sadhu Samagamam, that is, be in the company of God and godly. Kuru Punya Mahoratram, doing meritorious deeds day and night. And Smara Nityam Anityatam, contemplate constantly on what is permanent and what is impermanent. So in the thing is, we know in a very short span, like 7 days of Parikshit, he knew what is permanent, impermanent, and he knew that he has to give up his kingdom and go and take off from there. So that is, he could do that. But for us, in that 100 years of lifespan, or whatever God has written, to do that is the challenge, and that is why we have to keep doing that every day, so that it becomes second nature in terms of going forward. So that is for the second part of what you were telling, sister. And the first part of how do I know I have got the degree, because there'll be nobody to get the degree, because at that time the person who is conferring the degree, the person who is getting the degree, and the act of being awarded the degree, everything becomes one. So I don't know who will get the degree, because once you become, you merge, like the salt doll has gone to the ocean and it has merged and become one with the ocean. To whom will the ocean give the degree? Because there is no salt doll to give the degree to. And or if we can live with that state of mind while we are living this life, then we become Jivan Mukta. We are liberated when we are alive. So that degree, there is nobody of that stature, like when we go to the, really, like Swami didn't come and say, I have, like, I'm literally, like, I have got moksha kind, or leaving the avatar aside, even if I go to a realized soul, like a sage, they will not be tom-tomming that I have got the ultimate degree of moksha. The way they live their life, we know that they have got the degree. So that's what I would say, because for the person receiving the degree and the person conferring the degree, they both have become one. It is for others to know and see that that person has got the degree because they live their life in the side of.
So again, what's the degree, Sai Satish?
I don't know now.
Okay, so okay,
No,
that's why
moksha. I would say the ultimate thing of liberation, or
Sadgati.
Liberated. Yeah.
What Swami
Yes.
was Sadgati.
I think giving up the body consciousness, mind, and all of that.
See, we have an open we have an open book question, actually, open book exam. But anyway, Sister Anand, you were saying something.
Maybe degree of self-realization. That degree maybe we all are yearning for, but we don't know when we will get that degree.
Yes, Brother Tasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother.
Yes.
So the degree. So even we are surrendering our mind, bhakti, and self. So if we take the Pragaladan story, he's saying Namasparana. When he have any problems, did he call God, please come? He has the faith. He doesn't need to call even. He will come anytime and protect you whenever you need it. Maybe self-realization or any kind of situation. God is going to be with you. That is my answer. Thank you, Sairam, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Anyone else? What's the degree?
Sairam.
Who is the examiner? And how will we know we got the degree? 3 questions.
Sairam, I don't know.
Yes.
I have a question.
Auntie,
Self-realization.
answer only is permitted. Okay, you ask the question. Sorry.
No, the self-realization is not liberation, right? It's a totally different thing. Self-realization is you know that your Atma is real and your body is unreal.
Yes.
That is self-realization.
Yes. Okay,
That
so
we all know.
Yeah, so Auntie has struck down self-realization as a degree. So any other answers? Okay, I think because 329, I will see. Just look at the slide which is there. The last line tells you what the degree is.
Thought of Pranava and the last moment of life.
No, the last line in the slide.
Whoever dies in that thought attains me.
Okay, so the degree is God.
Degree of attaining.
Krishna is the degree. Krishna is the degree. The one who examines is Krishna. One who grants Krishna is Krishna himself. The Lord is the ultimate degree. Possessing the Lord in every sense is the degree. So that means you have, as I think Sai Satish said, you have become that. So emerging in the ocean. So the thing is, what we have to attain is God. The one who grants that is God. One who decides that is himself. That's what Krishna says.
Yeah.
He's the examiner, he's the degree, and he's the grantor of the degree. I'm just going by, what's in front of me. That's why it's an open book exam. Every question we ask, actually the answers, that's what, because there's nothing much. As Auntie said, self-realization, knowing that we are not the body, is realizing that we are divine. But after that, the Jnani as a devotee is striving to merge with the Lord. Jnani has reached that state of self-realization, I think. Auntie is taking very good notes. That's all. Auntie Sakku is pretty.
When Jivan Mukta, when he realizes while alive, then he knows he's got that degree.
Yes,
but who merges with the Lord, sometimes mukti can be attained even after the death also. That is Krama Mukti is called, but you have to go through several stages to reach that Mukti, but we will not be aware of it. But the Jivan Mukta can be aware of what he has realized.
But then he has already obtained the degree.
He has already obtained the degree. He is aware of it also, that I have got the degree. But he won't boast of it, that I have got.
Because he cannot boast because he doesn't see anything else, anyone else in this world.
Yeah.
Sairam, Sakwanti was trying to say something.
Yeah, no, we studied at the Geetha Vahini about the Jivan Mukta. You know, when you can, when you are alive also, you can
become
get your
liberation.
soul liberated from all attachment, everything you give up. You only know God.
Okay.
So, Auntie, you are fine with the degree and the examiner now?
Yes.
Yeah,
God is everything.
I think just Anandi's question.
I thought the brother, because of open exam is very much harder than the closed book exam. I know that I have done both. The open exam, it's very, very hard. And in this case, the grantor of the degree and the maybe subject of the degree and the and both are same. That's why little confusion to me. Normally, it is maybe the program or the program of the degree and the grantor of the degree. Normally, in the worldly affairs, it's two different entities. But in this case, they both grantor of the degree and the program of the degree or the subject of the degree, both are same. Maybe that's the big difference between the worldly degree and the spiritual degree, the life degree. I got some new thoughts in my mind, because of those two are same, and that's why we don't realize, many of us, we don't realize whether we attained the degree or whether we achieved our goal or degree. We are unable to realize because when we achieve, we wouldn't even, our mind and everything, it would be blank. We wouldn't know if we really attained that degree, because we would be one with the God and the maybe grantor and the grantee. Both would be the same. It's an excellent concept, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. That's exactly non-duality, Advaita. In the world of duality, everything looks different.
Yeah.
Sai Ram to all. You gave us a good class today. This is wonderful.
I think Brother Thasan has raised his hand. So, Brother, you have a few seconds because we already have 34.
I'm sorry, brother, I didn't close the hand.
Okay, then that's fine.
Yeah.
So I think we will all contemplate on this degree and hopefully we make some progress. Sadgati. And so we will close for today and we'll continue the discussion next week. Sairam. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you,
Sai Ram.